In 1993, three engineers, Jensen Huang, Chris Milahowski, and Curtis Preem, founded NVIDIA. They didn't have billions of dollars. They didn't have a huge office. They only had one idea: to build the graphics processors of the future. Many experts believed the company was doomed to fail. The computer industry was already crowded with powerful competitors. Investors were skeptical, friends questioned their decision, but the founders kept working, day after day, night after night. They believed that one day computers would need far more graphics power than anyone imagined. At the time, very few people shared that vision. NVIDIA was just a tiny startup with a big dream. The early days were far from glamorous. The office was small, the furniture was simple, the budget was limited, every dollar mattered. The founders couldn't afford expensive mistakes. Each decision could determine whether the company survived another month. Some mornings began with optimism. Other mornings began with worry. Bills had to be paid, employees needed salaries, investors expected results, yet success remained uncertain. Jensen Huang often arrived before sunrise. He reviewed plans, discussed designs with engineers, and searched for ways to improve the company as technology. The team worked incredibly hard. Sometimes they stayed in the office late into the night. Sometimes they slept only a few hours before returning to work again. Competition was fierce. Large companies already dominated the industry. They had bigger budgets, more employees, more resources. NVIDIA looked tiny by comparison. Many people wondered why the founders were even trying. One investor asked a difficult question: why do you think you can compete against companies that are 10 times larger? The room became quiet. Jensen answered calmly, because the future doesn't belong to the biggest company. It belongs to the company that sees what is coming next. Not everyone was convinced. Several investors declined to support the company. Some analysts predicted that NVIDIA would disappear within a few years. The founders heard those opinions repeatedly, but they continued building, continued designing, continued believing. The technology industry was changing rapidly. Video games were becoming more advanced. Computer graphics were improving every year. The founders believed that demand for powerful graphics chips would eventually explode. But there was a problem. The future they imagined had not arrived yet. NVIDIA was betting everything on a market that barely existed. If they were right, the company could become successful. If they were wrong, the company could disappear forever. That uncertainty followed them every day. One evening, after a long meeting, the founders remained alone in the office. The building was quiet. Most of the lights were off. Only computer screens illuminated the room. Chris looked at the latest financial numbers. They weren't impressive. Curtis reviewed engineering reports. Many challenges remained unsolved. For a moment, nobody spoke. Finally, Jensen broke the silence. If this was easy, everyone would be doing it. The others smiled. They knew the road ahead would be difficult. They knew failure was possible. But they also knew that every major innovation begins with people willing to take risks. Years later, NVIDIA would become one of the most important technology companies in the world. Its chips would power video games, scientific discoveries, data centers, self-driving technologies, and artificial intelligence. But in 1993, none of that existed. There were no billion-dollar headlines, no record-breaking stock prices, no global fame. Only 3 engineers, a small office, limited resources, and a dream that seemed far bigger than the company itself. The journey was only beginning. The first products did not sell well. The company was losing money. NVIDIA burned through cash faster than it earned it. At one point, only a few months remained before bankruptcy. Employees worried that the company might not survive. Every meeting felt critical. Every mistake could be the last. Pressure filled the office. Some startups would have given up, but Jensen Huang refused to quit. The team worked harder. They redesigned products. They improved their technology. They searched for a breakthrough. Failure seemed close, yet they continued moving forward. As the months passed, the situation became even more serious. Sales remained disappointing. Several products failed to meet expectations. Competitors continued gaining market share. The company's bank account kept shrinking. Inside the office, anxiety was everywhere. Engineers worked under enormous pressure. Managers worried about payroll. Investors demanded results. Every week brought new challenges. One morning, a financial report landed on Jensen's desk. The numbers were alarming. NVIDIA had enough money to survive only a short time longer. If something didn't change soon, the company could disappear forever. For a moment, the reality was difficult to ignore. Years of hard work, years of sacrifice, all of it could be lost. Some employees quietly updated their resumes. Others began looking for jobs at larger companies. Friends outside the company advised the founders to give up before losing even more money. Many people believed bankruptcy was inevitable. The technology industry is filled with failed startups. Most companies never recover once they reach this point. NVIDIA seemed to be heading in the same direction. But Jensen Huang saw things differently. Instead of slowing down, he pushed the team harder. Instead of accepting defeat, he focused on solutions. He gathered employees in a meeting room and spoke honestly. "We are in trouble." Everyone knew it was true. The room was silent. Then Jensen continued, "But we are not finished. We still have a chance. We can build something better." The team listened carefully. Those words gave people hope, not because success was guaranteed, but because someone still believed. The engineers returned to work with renewed determination. They analyzed every weakness, every mistake, every design flaw. They rebuilt parts of their technology from the ground up. Long days became longer nights. Many employees stayed at the office until midnight. Some slept on couches, others survived on coffee and takeout food. Failure was no longer a possibility in the future. It was standing directly in front of them, and everyone could see it. One evening, Jensen remained alone in the office long after everyone else had left. The building was dark. Only the glow of computer monitors illuminated the room. He looked at the company as financial projections. The numbers were brutal. There was no easy solution, no miracle investor, no guarantee of survival. Only one option remained: build a better product. As he closed the report, he wrote a simple note on a piece of paper: "We are closer to success than it appears." The next morning, he placed it where the team could see it. Most people outside NVIDIA believed the company was nearing its end. Few realized that these difficult months would become one of the most important periods in the company as history. Because sometimes the moment that looks like the end is actually the beginning of a comeback. NVIDIA was standing on the edge of bankruptcy. The future looked uncertain. The pressure was overwhelming, but the team refused to surrender. And somewhere inside that small office, a breakthrough was slowly taking shape. One breakthrough that would eventually change everything. In the late 1990s, NVIDIA launched a new generation of graphics cards for computer gaming. This time, everything changed. Gamers loved the performance, reviews were positive, sales increased rapidly, stores struggled to keep products in stock. For the first time, NVIDIA experienced real success. Revenue grew. The company hired more engineers. Confidence returned. What once seemed impossible was becoming reality. The startup that had nearly disappeared was now becoming a serious competitor in the technology industry. The months leading up to the launch had been intense. Engineers worked around the clock. Deadlines were approaching. Investors were waiting. The company's future depended on this product. Everyone knew it. If the launch failed, NVIDIA might not survive. If it succeeded, everything could change. The pressure was enormous. Jensen Huang often walked through the office late at night. Many employees were still at their desks. Computer screens glowed in the darkness. Coffee cups covered tables. Whiteboards were filled with calculations, sketches, and technical notes. Nobody was thinking about weekends. Nobody was thinking about vacations. They were focused on one goal: build the best graphics card possible. When the product finally launched, the team held its breath. The first reviews began appearing online. One review praised the card's speed. Another praised its graphics quality. Then more positive reviews arrived, and more and more. For the first time, NVIDIA wasn't just competing, it was winning. Gamers noticed immediately. The new graphics cards delivered smoother gameplay, better visual effects, and a level of performance many players had never experienced before. Word spread quickly. Gaming forums exploded with discussions. Technology magazines featured NVIDIA on their covers. Retailers reported growing demand. Customers lined up to buy the new products. Stores that had ordered limited quantities sold out faster than expected. Some retailers called NVIDIA asking for more inventory. Others placed larger orders than ever before. Inside the company, excitement replaced fear. Employees gathered around sales reports. The numbers were rising every week. Revenue increased, losses disappeared. For the first time in years, the future looked bright. One afternoon, an employee walked into Jensen's office holding the latest sales report. The numbers were far higher than anyone had predicted. For a moment, Jensen simply stared at the page. He remembered the difficult years, the failed products, the financial struggles, the sleepless nights, the fear of bankruptcy, the moments when success seemed impossible. Now, finally, the hard work was paying off. NVIDIA began hiring more engineers. New teams were created, new projects were launched. The company moved from survival mode to growth mode. Investors who had once doubted the company suddenly became interested. Analysts who predicted failure started changing their opinions. The technology industry began paying attention. Competitors noticed, customers noticed, investors noticed. NVIDIA was no longer a small startup struggling to stay alive. It was becoming one of the most exciting companies in computer graphics. The gaming industry itself was growing rapidly. New games demanded more powerful hardware. Developers wanted realistic graphics. Players wanted faster performance, and NVIDIA was ready to provide it. Each new product generation pushed technology further. Each success created new opportunities. The company continued investing heavily in research and development. Instead of celebrating too early, the founders focused on the future. They understood something important. One successful product does not guarantee long-term success. Innovation had to continue. The competition would not stop. The industry would not slow down. NVIDIA had won an important battle, but the larger journey was only beginning. Years later, many people would remember the company as incredible rise. Few would remember how close it came to failure. Fewer still would understand how much risk, sacrifice, and determination stood behind that success. The breakthrough wasn't just about selling graphics cards. It was proof that persistence can survive even the darkest moments. The startup that once feared bankruptcy had found its path, and that path was leading towards something far bigger than anyone inside the company could imagine. The future of NVIDIA was no longer about survival. It was about possibility. NVIDIA continued investing heavily in technology. Each generation of graphics processors became more powerful. The gaming industry expanded around the world, and NVIDIA grew alongside it. Millions of computers started using NVIDIA graphics cards. The company's reputation strengthened. Developers built games designed to take advantage of NVIDIA's hardware. Year after year, revenue increased. New products entered the market. The company expanded globally. What began as a small startup slowly transformed into a technology empire. After surviving its darkest years, NVIDIA entered a new chapter. The company was no longer fighting for survival every day. Now it was fighting to become the best. Competition remained intense. Major technology companies continued investing billions of dollars into graphics technology. The industry moved quickly. A company that stopped innovating could fall behind within a few years. Jensen Huang understood this better than anyone. While some companies focused on short-term profits, NVIDIA focused on the future. The company invested enormous amounts of money into research and development. New teams were created, new laboratories were opened, thousands of engineers worked on the next generation of graphics processors. Every year, customers expected more, better graphics, higher frame rates, more realistic worlds, faster performance. NVIDIA accepted the challenge. Each generation of parts became more powerful than the last. Games that once seemed impossible suddenly became reality. Developers created larger worlds, more detailed characters, advanced lighting effects, realistic shadows, complex physics simulations. Gamers around the world noticed the difference. Many began specifically looking for computers powered by NVIDIA graphics cards. The company's reputation continued growing. Technology magazines praised its innovations. Gaming communities discussed every new release. Launch events attracted millions of viewers. Some products sold out almost immediately after release. Inside NVIDIA headquarters, employees celebrated milestones that once seemed impossible. 10 million users, 20 million users, 50 million users, then hundreds of millions of devices using NVIDIA technology. Revenue continued increasing year after year. The company expanded into new countries. New offices opened across North America, Europe, and Asia. Thousands of new employees joined the organization. Many remembered NVIDIA as a struggling startup. Now it was becoming one of the most respected names in technology. But Jensen Huang remained cautious. Success had taught him an important lesson. Markets change, technology changes, customer needs change. A company cannot rely forever on a single success, so NVIDIA continued exploring new opportunities. Its engineers began working on technology beyond gaming: scientific research, medical imaging, engineering simulations, artificial intelligence, high-performance computing. At first, these projects seemed small compared to the gaming business. Few people paid attention. Most investors focused on gaming revenue. Most customers only knew NVIDIA for graphics cards. But inside the company, something important was happening. The foundations of the future were being built. One evening, Jensen stood before a group of employees. Behind him was a presentation showing the company's growth. The numbers were extraordinary. Revenue had increased dramatically. The workforce had expanded. The products were reaching customers across the globe. Yet Jensen spoke about something else. The future. He told employees that the world was entering a new era of computing, an era where graphics processors would become important far beyond gaming. Many people in the room didn't fully understand what he meant, but years later, they would remember those words, because the future Jensen described was closer than anyone realized. As NVIDIA continued growing, its market value climbed higher and higher. Investors who once doubted the company now wanted to own its shares. Business schools began teaching NVIDIA's story. Entrepreneurs studied its comeback from near bankruptcy. The company became an example of persistence, innovation, and long-term thinking. Yet, despite all the success, Jensen never forgot the difficult years, the unpaid bills, the failed products, the fear of bankruptcy. Those memories remained part of NVIDIA's identity. They reminded everyone that great companies are not built overnight. They are built through years of risk, sacrifice, setbacks, and relentless effort. What had started in 1993 with 3 engineers and a dream was now becoming something extraordinary. A global technology leader, a company trusted by millions, a business worth billions, an empire built one innovation at a time. And although NVIDIA had already achieved remarkable success, its biggest opportunity was still waiting ahead. An opportunity called artificial intelligence, an opportunity that would change everything. Years later, something unexpected happened. The technology that NVIDIA had spent decades developing for video games turned out to be useful for something much bigger: artificial intelligence. At first, only a small group of researchers noticed it. NVIDIA's graphics processors could perform massive numbers of calculations at incredible speed. Tasks that would take traditional processors hours could sometimes be completed much faster using the bus. Universities began experimenting with NVIDIA hardware. Scientists used it for research. Engineers used it for simulations. Researchers used it to train neural networks. Few people outside the industry paid attention, but Jensen Huang did. He believed that artificial intelligence could become one of the most important technologies in human history. Many people thought the idea was too ambitious. Others believed I was still decades away. Yet NVIDIA continued investing billions of dollars into the technology. The company built specialized hardware, improved software tools, created platforms for developers, and prepared for a future that most people could not yet see. Then everything changed. Artificial intelligence suddenly exploded into the mainstream. New AI systems amazed the world. People generated images, wrote code, created music, translated languages, answered questions. Businesses rushed to adopt AI. Government studied AI. Investors poured money into AI companies. Demand skyrocketed almost overnight. And behind many of those systems were NVIDIA chips. Technology giants began ordering us in massive quantities. Not hundreds, not thousands, but tens of thousands at a time. Entire data centers were built around NVIDIA hardware. Companies spent billions of dollars to secure supplies. Waiting lists grew longer, demand exceeded production. For the first time in the company's history, NVIDIA became one of the most important businesses on Earth. The numbers were extraordinary, revenue surged, profits reached record levels. The company's market value climbed higher and higher. Investors who once ignored NVIDIA suddenly couldn't stop talking about it. Financial news channels discussed the company every day. Analysts raised their forecasts again and again. The stock price reached levels that seemed impossible only a few years earlier. Employees who had joined during difficult times watched in amazement. Many remembered the years when bankruptcy seemed close. Now the same company was worth hundreds of billions of dollars, then over $1 trillion. Then even more, NVIDIA became one of the most valuable technology companies in history. Jensen Huang appeared on magazine covers around the world. Business leaders wanted his advice. Governments wanted meetings. Investors followed every word he said. But despite the attention, Jensen often reminded people that success had not happened overnight. It was the result of decades of work, decades of risk, decades of believing in a future that others could not yet see. One evening, while speaking to employees, Jensen reflected on the journey from a small startup to near bankruptcy to gaming success to global leadership in artificial intelligence. The room was silent. Everyone understood they were witnessing something historic. The company that once struggled to survive had become one of the driving forces behind the AI revolution, and the world was only beginning to discover what artificial intelligence could do. For NVIDIA, the biggest breakthrough was never just about technology. It was about vision, the ability to see opportunities long before they became obvious. That vision transformed a small startup into one of the most powerful companies in the world, and the AI revolution was still only beginning. Years later, a student asked Jensen Huang, "What is the secret of success?" Jensen smiled and replied, "Failures teach you faster than success." The audience listened carefully. He continued, "If everything is easy, you're probably not learning enough." The company that once stood on the edge of bankruptcy had become one of the most valuable businesses in the world. NVIDIA's story proves an important lesson. Sometimes the greatest victories begin when everything looks hopeless. Success is not built in comfortable moments. It is built during difficult days, painful setbacks, and uncertain nights. 3 engineers, 1 idea, countless obstacles, and the determination to keep going. That determination changed the future of technology forever. The room remained silent. Hundreds of students were listening. Some dreamed of starting companies. Others hoped to become engineers. Many were afraid of failure. Jensen could see it in their faces. Years earlier, he had felt exactly the same way. Another student raised his hand. "Were you ever afraid NVIDIA would fail?" Jensen laughed softly. Many times, the audience smiled. Then he became serious. There were moments when we had only months of cash left. There were products that failed. There were investors who doubted us. There were competitors much larger than us. There were nights when we didn't know if the company would survive. The room became quiet again. Most people knew NVIDIA as a trillion-dollar technology giant. Few knew how close it had come to disappearing. Jensen continued, "People see success and think the path was clear. It wasn't. Most of the time, we were simply trying to solve the next problem." He explained that every major success in NVIDIA's history came after difficult periods. The early struggles, the near-bankruptcy years, the pressure of competition, the risk of investing in technologies that nobody fully understood. Every breakthrough was preceded by uncertainty. Every victory was preceded by doubt. Another student asked, "Did you always know I would become this important?" Jensen paused for a moment, then answered honestly, "No one knows the future. You don't need to predict everything. You only need to be willing to learn faster than everyone else." The audience applauded because the lesson wasn't really about computer chips. It wasn't about stock prices. It wasn't about becoming rich. It was about persistence, the willingness to continue when success is invisible, the courage to keep moving when others tell you to quit, the discipline to work through uncertainty. Jensen looked around the room. Many students were taking notes. Some were recording the speech. Others simply listened. He shared one final thought. The most dangerous moment is not failure. The most dangerous moment is when fear prevents you from trying. Years later, many people would remember those words. Entrepreneurs, engineers, students, founders, creators, people facing difficult situations in their own lives. Because NVIDIA's story was never just about technology. It was about resilience, a small startup that nearly went bankrupt, a team that refused to quit, a vision that seemed impossible, and decades of hard work that transformed that vision into reality. Today, NVIDIA powers video games, scientific research, artificial intelligence, robotics, and some of the world's most advanced technologies. But behind every achievement stands the same lesson that existed in 1993. Success does not belong to the people who never fail. Success belongs to the people who keep going after they fail. 3 engineers, 1 dream, 30 years of perseverance, and a company that helped shape the future. Their story proves that sometimes the road to extraordinary success begins at the exact moment when giving up seems easiest. And sometimes, the people who change the world are simply the ones who refuse to quit.